Hello, slow parenting family from across the globe. Thank you so much for joining us today on another interesting edition of our program, your program, the Slow Parenting podcast on Nostalgia Media. My name is Richie Adewusi, your regular host on this podcast. Welcome today. It's still the same time of the same period in the week or day of the week, Wednesdays 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, US and Canada, and 7 p.m. West African Time, including Nigeria. When we gather together and then try to encourage ourselves about how we need to get on with our parenting businesses. Today is another uh, edition, and welcome again. All right, so today we're going to be looking at, still those behavioral uh, challenges and processes uh, that do often um, well tend to put out some difficulties and parenting chores and parenting journeys. Sometimes the difficulties are not out there for you to see because you think you're just exercising, your God-given authority. Well, sometime by the time some of us discover that there are issues with exercising those authorities, someone is asking questions about those authorities and say, well, after all, this was what I saw you doing. Meaning our children are watching, like we always say. They're watching what we're doing, they're listening to what we're saying, but they're also watching what we are doing. So don't just say it, live it, which is our banner, masthead for today's episode of the podcast. Don't just say it, but say it, live it too. Meaning, like I wrote in 7.5 Temptation Parents Face, put your act where your mouth is. And as you do that, it's hopeful, it's possible, it's probable um, that your children will follow you when they see you doing what you tell them to do. They are very good at they are copy specialists, children. They are copying specialists. I didn't want to say copycats, no, they're copy specialists. They watch, they take it in, and sooner than later, they begin to exhibit some of those things they've seen you do. Because, first, why is that so? They trust you. You are who they want to be. They look at you and that's their world. But when the world they are looking at is different from the world they are being told about, meaning when what they're seeing you do is different from what you are telling them to do, confusion sets in, struggles coming, confrontations coming at some point, rebellions happen. But when your words are consistent, or rather your action, whichever one comes first anyway, when your actions are consistent with your words, you have a balance. You have a balanced child. You have balanced children. You have settled children. There's no confusion. There can be confusion from within, and so there won't be any confusion. There's not likely going to be confusion from without. That means outside. When they get out, either with their friends, teachers, or colleagues, they already know who they are. They believe what they believe in. They have formed their personalities. But when they have confused personality from within, it becomes easier for individuals outside to influence um, the confusion, not in a way that will benefit you or they themselves, but oftentimes are ways that benefit those other individuals who are influencing them anyway for a particular reason, in most cases, selfish reasons. Okay. So don't put your children in that situation, in that position of being confused individuals because they can't figure out why you tell them to do something else and they see you doing something else. Let's put some meat on this, right? Not just continue to talk abstract. Is that what you're saying? Okay, yeah, we will. Well, but then we still need to paint a background to all of this. For instance, okay, you've read, you've had, oh, cigarette smoking is not good for you. You're going to have, well, cancer, as they might say, you're going to have this, you're going to have that. Well, you smoke. And then your children or your child is your practicing officer for the cigarette. And yet you're telling the child that cigarette smoking is not good. It's going to kill, it causes cancer. And the child will wonder whether you're a Superman. Then nothing happens. And like that. So if it's not killing you, then how exactly is it going to kill him or her? That's a concrete and real confusion there. You've not stopped. You're not letting the child know that, yes, well, maybe when you started smoking, maybe just was something you felt was, oh, wow, something to do, something your friends were doing. You felt good about joining your friends to do what they're doing. Or you just found something exciting about cigarette smoking. It made you feel grown up. It maybe made you feel in charge. And if it made you feel grown up, made you feel in charge when you started smoking it. So why do you think it will not make your child feel grown up and feel in charge, man? But if it's that, oh, it was just something your friends were doing and all of that, well, level up with your children. We've said often, don't lie to them. Level up with the child or your children. Let them know, well, I smoke. It's something I'm trying to stop. I've tried, but it's tough. It's not something you want to get involved. Apart from the issue of the health challenges and all of that, it's a habit that is tough to break from. I'm trying. And that is why I'm saying don't start. Not I'm saying don't do it because I'm your father. I'm telling you if you don't smoke, can't smoke in this house. Meanwhile, you're smoking. Okay. The child will waiting until he or she has her own house. And might be one of the reasons why the child or the children might want to move out on their own quicker to go settle up so they can, well, since it's because you live in your house that you can smoke cigarettes and I can't. So now I'm in my house. So I can smoke. Let the children know that's not the reason. The reason, well, you started something, you really didn't have the kind of maybe counsel, the kind of mentoring they're having now, that you're giving them now. You didn't, maybe you didn't have such opportunities, but then by the time you realize that you shouldn't be involved in this, you had already gotten addicted to it. Yes, use the word addicted to it. Let them know. Don't try to glamorize it and tell them, no, but you can't smoke, don't worry. Now, in case you've not noticed, your children want to be you. They want to do what you do. They want to be you. They want to do what you do before they even begin to figure out by themselves who they are, what they want to do, what they don't want to do. The first things they want is to be you. In one of the books, I think it's still 7.5 Temptations, Various Face. I shared a story about when I used to love to wear wristwatches. I love to collect wristwatches at some point in my life. I mean, yeah, and of course I wore them on my right wrist. Of course, people mostly wore wristwatches on their left wrist. Of course, uh, it's not always my thing to do things the way I was doing. I chose to wear my wristwatch on my right wrist. And my first daughter, as she, grew up, or she was growing up rather, you know, I noticed that when I bought her first wristwatch, she wore it on her right wrist. I was curious. So I asked, really, that's your wristwatch, yeah? Why are you wearing it on your right wrist? I said, that like you wear your one on your right wrist. Well, oh, okay. No other reason. So no. Then I told the story of why I wear my wristwatch on my right wrist. It's me. It's not because of any. I like it. I don't like wearing it where everybody else is wearing it. But she's wearing it because somebody else is wearing it on her right wrist. Do your thing the way, so long as you are not breaking any rules, you're not contravening any laws or edicts, so you're not disrespecting your culture, your tradition, your family values, your family etiquette and societal etiquettes. So long as you're not doing any of those, do your own thing, be yourself, be bold about it, but be respectful about your boldness, especially when it comes to your relationship with your parents and adults. And your colleagues actually respect everyone. Be firm, be yourself, but be respectful in your approach and attitude to others. Okay, here we go. Looks like the floodgates are open. We have our community members sending in their um, comments and questions. The first one here says, my child sees me on my phone a lot, even though it's for work. But now they're addicted to screens. How do I draw the line without sounding hypocritical? To my mind, there would be nothing hypocritical about explaining that you're on your phone because it's for work. Yes. Eh, have a discussion. That's the first thing. That's where to start. Have a discussion. Tell them the story. Always let your children know why you're doing certain things. The one you are struggling, which the ones you know are not things you should really be doing. Explain your difficulties at stopping, but let them know you're trying to stop. In this case, you are not addicted to the screen because you are fraternizing on social media. According to this, what you've written here, you are working either by calls or texting or however, you're working online with your phone. So explain it. Let them know. If what you are doing is not, sensitive, if it's not something that privacy issues, attached to it, like some workplaces, people work with figures, people work with very sensitive data. So if it's not such, call them to see what I'm doing. This is what I do on my phone. I'm at work. Do I leave home? No, but I'm working. I'm not playing. Let them know. When you're on your phone, as much as I am, well, if it is study, fine. If it is you're starting a business or vocation, you're learning some trade online, fine. But if it's just for socializing, no, it's not helpful to you to spend the amount of time I spend online on the phone not doing something productive and constructive outside of the health issues involved. Explain it. Then you won't be hypocritical. But if you just don't drop that phone, would you be on the phone every time? The child will be wondering, excuse me, but you're on the phone 24/7. So how come, why should my own be different? Explain. Okay? That's that. Another member here says, can modeling better behavior now make up for years of not doing so earlier, or is the damage done? You know the saying, never too late to get started. Okay, if you remain with, oh, the damage is already done, so it says you've not learned, and saying this, and I understand what is said here to mean that the person who wrote this um, has certain issues that come now to realize that, oh no, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have been doing this over the years, and now has children. The first thing is forgive yourself. Okay? Come to peace with yourself over whatever the issue is. You said you've now stopped, you've now, okay, um, to make up for not doing so, which means there's something you are supposed to do you didn't do at the time, but now you're trying to make up either in your relationship with the children, either how you've later communicated with them or said things to them or done things with them. Same thing. Forgive yourself, come to terms with yourself, then apologize and explain. Then, well, I didn't really understand the XYZ uh, as much as I do now. Okay? I was so focused on some other things. I was so busy. Well, tell them the reasons. Because for you to come to terms with yourself and forgive yourself, you must be able to tell yourself the truth and know. But then if it's still something you just did because you felt that I was your daddy or what, oh, say it. Be very, very sincere with them. Once I did that because I felt that I was your father, this is how I should talk, but I've come to realize that it's not the best. Okay? It's not the best. And I'll feel very bad if you went on to relate with others, and maybe especially your children, your home, members of your family, the same way I have related with you. So sorry. I'm sorry about that. That's not the right way, or those are not the right ways. Okay? So it's never too late. Communicate, communicate, keep talking, like we will say. Okay? Share your concern, share what it is you know you discovered that didn't happen right between you. And then share what you know is the right approach and appeal to get started. Or I don't want to use the term be given another chance, but yes, that's what it is. You appeal to be given another chance so that the family, your relationship with the family, with the particular child, with the particular children, could get on track as it should. And then implement your new plan, your new strategy as agreed. In incorporating it in your what? Family boundaries. Don't forget the button you just installed, or yeah, installed, that had just been fixed for you, or you've just fixed by yourself in agreement with your children or with that child. As you now incorporate it in your family boundaries, don't ever forget it and go back to the old button. If you do make the mistake of going back to the old button, pull yourself back, apologize, and get back to the right button. Okay? Thank you. All right. Another community member here says, what if I model good behavior 90% of the time, but lose control that, or okay, but lose control that other 10%? Can the 10% end up being what my child would copy? I guess I should say yes. Maybe. You know, the good thing, you realize that, well, there's a good behavior 90% and there's not so good behavior 10%. So try to do away with even the 10% and start that conversation with the child with the 10%. Okay. And I know this happens between us or here in the home, or as I do this, I know this happened, but that's not the right thing. Okay. Don't dwell on the 90%. Because most times people don't really see the good things you have done. They pick the bad, or they pick the bad ones. Not just your children. People don't remember good things you've done with them or to them. They remember the ones they decide is the bad one. Okay, and your children in copying, they might unfortunately pick on the undesirable one and not look at your 90%, which is an A material behavior, A score uh, behavior. What you know what they say about one bad apple? Just one bad apple in a basket. They say it spoils the whole basket. And that's what that your 10% can end up doing. So and you don't want that. So again, talk about it with the child. Explain it, apologize, and express and share the right thing to do and begin to do it. Don't say, no, well, I know that that's where I do this and all of that. Well, you cannot say that that's the only thing you see me do, so you should not, you don't excuse yourself. Try not to excuse yourself. Try not to play the daddy or the mommy. Play a family member bound by the same boundaries that you must have all mutually set for yourselves. And if there's a consequence for your behavior, your 10%, apply it to yourself. Don't say I'm the daddy, I'm the mommy. No. Apply that consequence to yourself so that everyone will see that you're fair. And hopefully, everyone will move along and there'll be no issues. Okay? Another member here says, what strategies can parents employ to avoid the pitfall of delivering lectures instead of foster open dialogue? Questions. Start with questions and don't ask questions and also go ahead to answer the questions. It happens. I've been guilty of that. Because I already know how you should behave, and I'm asking, is this what you should be doing? Shouldn't you be? No, don't do that. Okay, because when you go, is this what you should do? Or sorry, is this what you should be doing, or is this what you should have done, or is this what you should be doing? The answer might be no. Wait to hear the no. Wait to hear if your child actually does understand what that child ought to have done in the very first place. Sometimes children make errors, not because they are being disobedient, but because they just didn't understand or just didn't get the instruction clearly. So wait to hear if the child did get the instruction clearly. Does remember that you as a family have set such a, put such an item down in your family boundary setting. Wait to hear. You're most likely going to hear that, that no, that's not what I should do. Okay, what should you have done? This one, okay. So what should happen? I'm sorry, Dad. The child would leave that, you know, uh, trial session or potential trial session a much more determined person to do the right thing than when you go, what was it you are supposed to do? Is this how you, no, this is not how you're supposed to do. We agree, you've answered. The child obviously hasn't done the right thing. You've asked the question, wait for the child, and you didn't. You go ahead, this is what you should have done. The lecture starts. Some children, if they are like my son, will stand there and not listen to the lecture really. We'll stand there and just spend the time for the lecture to be over. And you will not have gained anything. You will not have done anything, really. Ask questions, wait for the answers, clarify accordingly. Okay? That way, the child learns, you learn too, because your clarification, oh, okay, you didn't understand that, oh, this wasn't, oh, okay, I understand that, but then pay attention, okay? Or you could have asked, or you give tips to helping the child not go the same route the next time. Okay? You can also apply the first offender. That if that was the first time the child was going contrary to that family boundary, you could apply the first offender rule and well overlook the misdemeanor and say, don't do this next. Since you know what should happen now, I shouldn't do it again. So the child has already said it. So next time, if that happens again, you can ask, okay, the same process, ask question, wait for the answer. The answer comes and it's okay. Now, the other time we talked about this, yes, yes. What was your response then? That I said I won't do it again. What have you done? I've done it again. So what should happen now? I'm sorry. No, yeah, sorry. So that you don't do it again, we would apply that thing we have agreed. It should happen when any one of us, anybody here does anything like this as deterrent for a repeat uh, performance of that undesirable behavior. So there's another community member here. Um, is it okay to let my child help me change a bad habit? What's that bad habit to start with? How did you know it's a bad habit? Have you discussed it with the child to let the child know it's a bad habit? So I'm not asking these questions frivolously. I'm asking, you know, well, whatever it is, it's a bad habit. Have that conversation with the child that you now want involved to help you to change it. To first of all come to an understanding that it's a bad habit you want to change. You are struggling with changing. So that way, the child knows that first doesn't get to be hooked on whatever that is, okay? And then know what his or her particular task is in the process of helping you change. Better still, go to a therapist. Your child is not a therapist. You might end up having two patients on the same couch over the same issue, depending on what issue it is. But the question does have uh, its comfort, like reminding me when I start shouting, or is it that asking too or is that asking too much of them? Well, most parents I know will not be comfortable with their children telling them, "Mom, you're shouting again," when they're shouting. You see, you're putting the child in trouble by yourself. Again, two things. You're shouting at the child, you want the same child to tell you, "Mom, you're shouting." So you want the child to run the risk of you telling the same child you're being disrespectful. Is it me you're telling you're shouting? No. Uh, That is something you need to go to a psychologist to go to ask, what do I need to do when I feel like shouting and when I actually get to start shouting or something. You know you're shouting, you know you should not shout. Maybe not at your children or at anybody for that matter. When I have shared with you guys here on this program that somebody said that what's when you're always shouting, when you're always angry. Oh, really? It's you that need to find a way to do something about that. Don't drag the children in because you create another problem. That's okay. When I next time when I'm shouting, just let me know I'm shouting. Okay. Some children know how to use that cane very well. Mom, there you go again. You're shouting, no, you're shouting again. Is it me that you're telling I'm shouting again? Problem. So don't put your children on the spot over things that you ought to take charge and control over yourself. Okay. Thank you. What if I model respect and discipline, but my children copy their favorite Instagram influencer instead? Have you had that discussion? Be vocal about what you're modeling. Be vocal about what Instagram influencer, have you watched what is being modeled on that by that particular Instagram influencer? Interrogate to find out what the child finds interesting in whoever the influencer is or whatever they are doing. Find out what your child finds of interest there and clarify according to your culture, your tradition, your family values, your ethical values, and of course, your legal code. Okay? Have that discussion. Ask questions. Mom, well, I just like the way he talks, it's just the way I like the way he dresses. Well, those things fade, they come and go, but they're not the main things. This is who we are. Go back to your culture, go back to your tradition, go back to your family values, your ethics. Okay? Sometimes, even ourselves, when we feel that what we are modeling is the best, what is the source of that thing you feel is the best, and that's the way your children need to behave. Your child's interest in the influencer might be because there's something missing. There's something the child is looking for, is not seeing in you. So when you have that conversation, you will find that out. And then you would now agree on what to do about it with yourself, and then with your child or with your children and your family members. Okay? So now, in our usual way this season, we're going to play for you again now, today to our video on this same issue of say it, live it. Okay? At the end of it, the video will still be here to take, maybe more engaging questions from community members, but most importantly, listen to the video with attention here, and then apply as it concerns you. And it might not be you, it might not be for you. You might know someone. Send that video to that person. And at this point, I can't but ask you to please subscribe to the Slow Parenting Podcast on YouTube. Support us, help us to grow. We're here. It's a job, it's a passion we have for talking with ourselves about things we can do to make our children better versions of themselves, ready to take on society. So watch the video. We'll come back on the other side of the video. Thank you.
Dear parents, watch till the end to discover why your habits are louder than your rules, and how those shape your children's future. Your children are not just listening, they are watching. Every action you take is a silent lesson. And when what they see contradicts what they hear, your words lose weight, and your influence starts to slip. Here's the problem. Your children naturally want to be like you. And when what they see does not match what they hear, confusion sets in, so they begin to copy your habits, not your instructions. Let us fix that. 1. Be consistent in words and actions. This would show your children that your values are real, not just instructions for others. 2. Let them see the truth, not a perfect performance. This would help them build trust, knowing that mistakes are part of your story too. 3. Invite them into your journey, not just your rules. This would teach them how to reflect and make choices, not just follow commands. 4. Model what you want to see. This would reinforce habits naturally, no lectures required. 5. Share the why behind your values. This would help your children make those values their own, not just follow them out of fear. Here is a key reminder from Dr. Richie Adewusi's book, 7.5 Temptations Parents Face. Put your act where your mouth is, and your children hopefully would follow you. Your habits are a curriculum, and your children? Full-time students. Say it. But live it too. Share this with a parent who needs this reminder. Comment, like, subscribe, follow, and stay tuned to the hashtag #SlowParenting podcast for more parenting videos. Not just hacks, but heart.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us, and thank you for watching the video. Like we always say here, the video you can download on its own, and outside of the stream, you could outside of the podcast, you could have the video to send, to share to your friends. Right now, it's still free. Okay, so enjoy it. All right. So according to what's expressed in that video, which are not different from what um, some of the questions here have tried to draw attention or seek responses for. Your children they're excited that they're around you. First, they want to do everything because they believe in you. So they will believe in what you do. So first, you can say, okay, I don't want to do this so that my children don't get misled. Fine, fine. But sometimes, or before they were born, before you already had some rap sheets of behavioral patterns that even you are not comfortable with, deal with them yourself. The ones you've not been able to deal with, that you're not comfortable with, and they eventually arrive, the process, discuss them. I'm just this is just by way of recapping some of the things we've said in the A part of this particular podcast now. Okay? Sometimes, even before they ask you any question, something is disturbing you. You're not comfortable about how you do certain things that you know might influence them negatively. You should be the one to call for a discussion and be nice. Well, guys, this is not about you. Today we want to talk about there's something I really want to share with you. I don't feel comfortable about it, and I don't know if you've noticed XYZ. Somebody might sheepishly say, yes, Dad, I was wondering why you tell us not to do that and you're doing this. Every family have them, every mother, every father have them, those kind of people, this kind of children. It's okay, Dad, yeah, sure, I saw it, but then I was, and your children will trust you the more, will respect you the more, feel for you the more, especially if there are things you're struggling with, but you're sincere enough to share with them those struggles and what you're doing to try to stop or change or do the right thing. And you let them know that the struggles you're going through are the reasons for which it would not be a very good idea for them to get engaged in the same behavioral patterns or habits. Okay? Let them know. Remember, we're not talking about you and your other family members now. We're talking about you and your children because you want them to grow up and not exhibit maybe the said bad behavior by you, not me. The people who've been saying bad, they mention them, they label them bad behavior. So it's not me. I would rather say undesirable behavior, unpleasant behavior, and same thing, okay? But let the one that knows is bad say it's bad. Okay, so if we know that not things we're comfortable with and we're struggling to break away from them, let the children know. Like smoking, like drinking, those are maybe the easier ones out there, physical, that you could see. There are a whole lot of other things that are not desirable, and then that, well, it's likely your children are, cringing under the weight of watching you, and some of them might be copying you, and you don't want that to happen. So you discuss it, or discuss the issues, point the disadvantages or the challenges concerning that issue or those issues, from your own practices, and then let them know it's not what they want to get, that you are struggling to stop or to change. Okay? And that way, you save yourself some headache, even if you've not seen any of them exhibit or take interest in whatever the, the habits you are not comfortable with is, preempt it, discuss it. Hopefully, you will nip it in the bud early enough. Okay? Now, saying and living is easier said than done in most cases over certain issues. There's always that adult thing that's like, well, I'm the adult. And when you get to that, you shouldn't be doing that now. You actually mean you shouldn't be doing that at all. So when you use phrases or sentences like, you shouldn't be doing that now, the child is waiting for the time, the, the right time. Oftentimes, it's like you are too young. Okay, am I too young? Am I too young? You hear that, those kind of questions from some children, really. They're waiting to get to that time. And usually it's always things like smoking or drinking. Okay? You gleefully drink, go get me that, go get. And that, can I have some? No, 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 go take it. Can't drink this now. So you're saying there's a right time to drink alcohol. That's what you're saying. Not that alcohol consumption can be a problem, could be a problem to different kinds of individuals under different scenarios and circumstances. Okay? The child will wait. You'll be surprised. The day your daughter or your son is turning 18, you have a private party and there will be booths all over. And people, how did this happen? But Dad, I'm 18 now. Okay, you go like, really? But you are the one who's primed that child to anticipate coming of age. Meaning coming of age means I can do anything I want. No? Well, you probably can do anything you want. But on the flip side of doing anything what you want is that word called consequences. Okay? There are consequences for everything. Not so much of consequences coming from the parents. It's okay that we're going to discipline you. There are health consequences. There are other behavioral consequences that come with certain things that look glamorous on the surface, and then children are excited. They are waiting to when I'm of age now. I'm no longer a baby, no longer a child. You will hear that, but then it will be a good idea to discuss the issues of, well, saying this is not a good idea. Okay, we've gone through that earlier to say this is why this is going on now. I'm trying to stop. Or if it's about drinking, you drink socially, for instance, you are not living inside the bottle itself. Discuss social drinking. Discuss maybe what leads you to drink or not drink at all. I'm just using drinking as an example. And then also share what could happen when people abuse even their social drinking habits. Discuss it. Let the children know. Okay. We have another community member here. It says there's a thin line between being firm and being an instructor. How can parents know where to draw that line? And since you know there's a thin line, it probably could have helped us to say where it is, where the thin line is. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just joking. Well, uh, it's communication. It's about applying good communication skills and practices. Okay, that might be the thin line. It's just in your approach. That thin line could be in your approach. It could be in how you say what you're saying. It could be in where you say what you're saying. It could be in the time you say what it is you're saying. A child who is half asleep, it's not a child to have a conversation with. What you're doing is doing a lecture, and that child is most likely not going to remember when the child wakes up. And you'll be angry. I was talking with you. I said all of this to you yesterday. You didn't know what time it was. You didn't observe to see that this child was sleepy and was most likely not in a frame of mind or shape to take in your to participate in your discussion. Or because the child is not responding as you are, you shake. I'm talking to you, you are shaking the child. The child is sleeping. It's a time to sleep. Respect the child's me time to sleep time. It might not be bedtime, it might just be sleepy. Unless, of course, you are the teacher, is in class, you're not supposed to be sleeping in class. A child who is sleeping in class is also exhibiting, it's also telling you something is wrong. So the first thing to do is not go into lecture. Should you be sleeping while we're having, ask questions. Are you all right? Is everything okay? Are you okay? You feel the temperature, at least physically feel the temperature of the child. Are you okay? Are you all right? I'm all right. Why are you sleeping? We're having a class. So that means you're not following. I'm sorry, I'll follow. Okay, you observe the child. If persists, you know that something is wrong. Especially with a child you know usually would pay attention in class. If it's at home, same thing. Are you okay? This is usually don't sleep at this time. That's also because you know your child. You know the time they would playing, drawing, or doing whatever, but then you see him or her in one corner on a couch or on a bed sleeping. You know something is wrong. That's not the time to give a lecture. Okay? And then, like we had said a bit earlier at the top of this program, a child has done something contrary to what needed to be done or how it needed to be done. And you're upset. And you're drawing the child's attention to that. The thin line between lecture and having a dialogue, well, dialogue means it's two people, more than one person talking, at a time. Not okay, two people in the communication relationship, more than two people, but somebody is, and the return response. The first things that should go out should not be, you know, combative. If it goes combative, the child could, out of fear, not be able to respond, and then you go off on the attack again. Is this what you should be doing? We discuss, and the child can, maybe you don't even let the child respond. You go on. It turns into a lecture. Nothing is likely going to come out positive from it. Okay. And another community member here said, when I slip up and model the wrong behavior, how soon should I address it with my child? Immediately or after I've calmed down? I don't know what you mean by calm down. If it's in relation with the child, you've done something out of anger, out of, well, being emotional might not be anger, just upset, you're screaming, maybe. Okay. Well, the answer should be, well, try and take hold of yourself first, meaning calm down. Okay. But if it's something that didn't have anything to do with the child, that you think might be an issue with the child's behavior at some point, if the child sees it or hears about it, engage the child as soon as the environment, the atmosphere is conducive for her to have such, conversations. Okay, you see, something, I want to tell you something. I want to tell you a story. Come, sit down. Yeah, I'll tell you a story. Something happened today, and I feel very embarrassed about how it happened. Tell the story. Tell what's embarrassing you about it, and let the child know what why it might not be a good idea for him or her to engage in such a behavior. And then ask your questions. What do you think? Okay? Find out also what the child thinks about the behavior. And then continue with the discussion accordingly, depending on what the child says. Okay? So it's not a one size fits all response. Uh, if the issue is with the child, calm down. If it's something that happened elsewhere, could you engage the child or the children when it's appropriate to do so? Okay, another member here said, when a child poses a question to the parent, after realizing that the parent that the parents don't practice what they teach, what exactly is the child looking for? Everything. The child is confused. Yeah, the child most likely is confused. So it's looking for clarity, looking for sincerity, okay? It's looking for single standard, not double standard, okay? You'll be lucky if you're a parent and your child is able to say, but that this is you said we should do this, but you are doing this. It should be happy. But most times we get angry. Who are you to challenge me? Okay? Who are you to challenge me? I'm talking, this is disrespectful. Forget the respect. Be grateful that the child comes up with such, um, engaging questions. And clarify. Apologize when you have to under such circumstances. I say, oh, wow, I didn't, sorry. Oh, this is what I'm doing. Oh, wow. No, I shouldn't be doing that. Sorry. And thank you for drawing my attention to that. Okay. So another member here says, how can parents incorporate the idea of learning from failure into their parenting approach? You've done something, it didn't work. Before you are calling it failure, you already know it didn't work. And you already also know that it wouldn't work with your children. So share the experience first, and then share why it's a failure, why you feel you failed, call it what it should be. Tell them why you feel you failed, it's failure, and then let them also know why, you know, that shouldn't be their approach to the issue, which should be one of the reasons why you're discussing it with them in the first place. This is how I know it's a you're standing, guys. You're standing at this bus stop right now. This here, huh? See this stop where this bus stop where you are at now. I know this bus stop. I've been here. As a matter of fact, I know where this bus is headed. The one that you're waiting for, I know every stop along the way, and I also know the final bus stop. So you don't want to get on that bus. Well, if we say bus, you must get on the bus, as in you must go on dates, for instance. I'm talking in relationship issues with your son, your daughter, and the friends. Yeah, going out on a date is not an issue. People must interact. But what is an issue is what happens on the date. So yes, you are at this bus stop. The bus stop is that you're going on a date. Oh yes, you enter the bus to go on a date. But this bus, there are different stops along the way, you know. When people go out on day, they see beautiful places to get to a park, fine. Yes, that's a good bus stop to stop at. All right. When people are on a date, they go to the cinema, they go to the theater, they go to the library. Wonderful. Those are good bus stops to stop. When people are on a date, they go, they drink alcohol. Well, you don't want to come down at that bus stop. Huh? You, you you have those conversations, have those discussions plainly, because again, well, the last bus stop, you know, I said the last bus stop, I got there myself, my time, I got there, and you don't want to get there. Tell them what happened at that last bus stop and why you don't want them to be on that bus to even venture to get into the last stop. Be sincere about your experience. And then let them know that that's why, you know, I'm not saying you should not go out or should not go out with your friend, or you should not, but then because of this experience, I'm not saying you would have the same experience, but then just out of caution, you just might want to stay away from, you know, um, getting into such environments or getting involved with such people. Okay. Um, that is it for us today. I was looking at something and it's some information from the technical group. Yeah, yeah. That's it on our show for today. Thank you so much for being part of it. And we look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, US and Canada, 7 p.m. West African time, including Nigeria. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, okay? Follow us, please, on our different or various social media handles. And please, um, subscribe, please. Okay, subscribe to support us. Talk about us with your friends, your family, your colleagues, and then don't forget to go to go to our YouTube channel. We have several videos on our parenting hacks there. Okay, you can also share those to your friends. Thank you so very much, and keep talking till we see you next time. Bye bye.